they don't have the patience to go through filler like Naruto filler to get to a main story. It's these two audiences there's similarities, but there are differences. And if comic book fans, quote unquote, want comic books like manga, they still be bitching and complaining.
And I think that's another thing that kind of separates manga from comics is the creativity, the limitations on creativity. You know, when it comes to manga, like I said, like you can find a plethora of mangas about any old thing, you know. But when it comes to comics, it's usually, you know, like I said, correct me if I'm wrong. You know, it's more political, or you know, they try to some kind of agenda, I guess you could say. But and I think that's why a lot of people are more gravitating. Like, I guess another thing, you know, with a lot of DC, I think it's more so DC. Correct me if I'm wrong. They're they're taking like characters and throwing and relabeling them. You know, making characters that weren't gay now gay or something like that. Like, I'm not trying to. You know, I have nothing against, you know, gay people or anything like that. I have nothing against, you know, people's sexuality. But I'm just saying, people. You know, I think there was like a whole big thing with Superman's son and him being bisexual or something. I'm just like, all right, you know, it didn't bother me none, but you know,
American comics, it's so weird because on one hand, the comic fans complain about one thing, and then on the other hand, they'll ignore others. I won't say that we've been through this like so many times, but I will say that for comic books, in a sense that, yes, they are more restricted in terms of, especially like Marvel, DC. They can't do half the things that something in manga can do because simply the fact of, I guess, the editing, censorship, and the way the money train is for an American comics is different than manga. Because in manga, if a character dies, unless it's like Dragon Ball Z. I know characters come back in manga, but there's a more likely chance that a character remains dead in a manga, right?
Right.
In comparison to an American comic book where, oh my God, Superman is dead. Spider-Man got taken over by Doc Ock, and now Peter Parker is dead. But a year later, they switch back, and Peter Parker's back in Spider-Man's body. His mind is back, and all this and that. Characters don't stay dead. The stakes never stay high because they always rebooting every year or 2 years, etc. And it's just that there's that creative freedom on the manga side makes it a better story because when a character is dead, a character is dead on that side. There is no coming back. There is no, I'm gonna wait for the reboot. Like, I'll just use myself for a perfect example. I'm a big Cyclops fan. The character died in 2015 with the Secret Wars storyline, and I was upset, but I'm like, he'll be back. And 2 years later, he's back. Now, can you imagine if in 2022, the current X-Men run, Cyclops was still dead, and they was like, no, he's not coming back. It would bring a lot more weight to that moment in 2015 when it happened. And then you really get a feel like, oh man, like, yo, that was it. Like, the stakes are high. I mean, that's where I think manga and anime, they get those emotions because it means more. It's valued more. A story, a plot, or element is valued more on that side because they don't have to reboot. They don't have to be like, oh, this character dies. Well, the merchandise, you know, they still need to sell the merchandise. We still need to sign, you know, X, Y, and Z. It's a chain reaction effect, you know? So, yeah, politics has always been in comic books, and certain characters I can see complaints about, and certain characters I can't see. Like, comic book fans want to say, let me make it more manga, but if we're being real, they bitch and complain. Because if Cyclops died, he ain't coming back, and you guys would be upset, like, oh, how come Cyclops isn't coming back? Like, they don't have the patience to go through filler, like Naruto filler, to get to a main story. these two audiences there's similarities, but there are differences. And if comic book fans, quote unquote, want comic books like manga, they still be bitching and complaining because of their own biases and certain way their purchasing habits are trained because of just the way the industry works. They would not be happy if Spider-Man remained dead, or they would not be happy if it took 10 issues to get to a fight. You know what I'm saying? They would not be happy if like the new status quo was changed and oh my god, my main character, he's no longer the main character. You mean Boruto is now going to be continuing? That's it? No more Boruto is going to be continuing this? No, I want more Naruto. Oh, I'll just wait for the new, in a year they'll reboot this and Naruto will be the main character again. Like, they'll be bitching, complaining too, man. Don't let them fool you.
You know what's funny about the whole Boruto thing?
What's that?
Is that, okay, so when Naruto ended, Boruto was actually written by another person.
Oh,
but yeah, Boruto's was written by another person, but it was supervised by the original author, by the author of Naruto.
Okay.
Same thing with Dragon Ball Super. Different author, but supervised by the the original.
Gotcha.
With Boruto, I guess the writer of Boruto had plans because I guess I don't know. I guess I want to say Japan sort of looks at how the influence, sales and stuff like that, and people wasn't really feeling Boruto's character. So the original the author of Naruto came back, and now he's writing Boruto. And so it's like, I guess, like this is just a theory, but I guess the writer that was doing Boruto had plans to kill off Naruto, and they was like, I don't know.
He tried to put Naruto on the chopping block, huh?
Yeah, but I guess the original, the author of Naruto came in, and instead of killing off Naruto, because I guess they was at the part where Naruto was going to die, but instead of killing off Naruto, they killed off Kurama, which is, the fox inside of Naruto killed him off. And yeah, spoiler for people who haven't seen it. But but yeah, it's so I guess they kind of do that sometimes, depending on, because it does sound like, killing off, it's the next generation, so it makes sense for Naruto and the older shinobi to die, and the new generation to take over. But I guess people are so attached to Naruto, we got attached to when he was this little knucklehead ninja, running around the hidden league, causing mischief. Now we seen him as Hokage, he reached his dream, and now you're gonna kill the man off. You don't want that. So I think, fans do influence what does and doesn't happen in manga. So, I guess they're kind of, in that medium, it's kind of similar, like you said, with killing off Cyclops. They've been around, X-Men's been around, what, since the 50s?
60s, yeah.
60s, so if they was going to kill off Cyclops, that's like, what, almost 70 years in the making? 60,
yeah, right.
60, 70 years, yeah, that's Cyclops been around for a hot minute,
Okay. Well, yeah, I had no idea. Well, I guess it can swing both ways for on the other side of the pond, where certain mangas or certain animes can get fan influence as well, so that those narrative choices don't stick. But I'll definitely say that those narrative choices are more than likely to stick over there than in like American comic books per se.